to the place where singles shine, celebrating life, divine by design. Faith and love, we intertwine. Route 77, where your journey's prime.
Welcome to the Route 77 podcast. I am your host, Natasha, and I am here with Monique.
Hello.
And David.
Hello.
And we are back. It's been, again, a while longer than we wanted it to be, but things, for me, has slowed down a little bit, so hopefully we can be more regular now. That's what I'm hoping, praying. That's what happens.
That's our story.
So this week's topic, we've kind of reached our yearly topic. We tend to hit it once a year about AI because it keeps getting more complex, more advanced, more copying of humanity. So people feel like they're talking to a human person more than they used to. And I'll just bring up like what's interesting. Last night we had our big Taekwondo gala. And after the gala, all the instructors and stuff and Master Chang goes to Boston Pizza. And then we go around the table and everybody talks about a pro and a con from the gala. Well, about 5 people said a con was that we used AI images at times. Because AI, it's like controversial. You shouldn't be using it. They would rather see like a poorly done Photoshop than a better version of an AI picture, which I totally disagree with. And that was interesting is that they were like young people. They were the teenagers, which kind of, I think, shows that there is a sort of like disconnect for them with AI. But I kind of disagree because I don't think they really think about it all the way through. Like, why was AI used? What purpose was it used? Like, a lot of times it's money saving. It's quick for things. Like, I used it for our K-pop dance background, which I think looked awesome, and a lot of people thought looked awesome. And the point was that I was purposely using the AI to create AI versions of,
turning us into cartoon characters. I looked way better than I do now. It's like, that's not me, but I like it.
And like, I knew that like people are going to assume it's AI, but that was sort of the point. But I also had a very specific look that I was going for. And it took me quite a while to get there using ChatGPT. But once I did, I was like super happy with it. And I don't know, like, I don't think the young people are looking at it and understanding that it takes finances to be able to have these programs which do these things or have the royalty-free pictures that you can use and royalty-free music that you can use. And by having AI do it, like, you can have those things without the financial cost.
Right.
And like when you're coming from trying to, and when you're living in a economy like we are, like everything counts. Like every pennies that you save counts. And I don't think it was like overly used. I mean, all that we did was put stuff up on the backdrop. It wasn't like we used AI videos. The only AI video that was used was one that was for the instructor scenario where they made like a Minecraft looking background. And the video basically had the sun going down and the sun coming up because they were doing something at night and something in the daytime. That was like the extent of the AI usage for video. And I don't even think they knew that the music that I used for my weapons scenario was AI generated. But
because of copyright.
Yes, exactly. And it's hard to find stuff that you can use.
With the pictures from our K-pop dance, they are cartoonish enough that you don't have to worry about people thinking that it's the real person, because as much as they kind of look like us, they don't really look like us.
Yeah. It's like the point
So
was
so
that
it
they were supposed to look like an animated character.
yes.
So,
Yeah. So if you were a cartoon character, this would be you. Nice.
yes.
It never ages. It's good.
So, but it was interesting that it was like about 5 people's con was that there was too much AI. And I don't know. What do you think, David? Is the world using too much AI?
I don't think it will matter with those people that say you're using too much AI. Because what's going to happen, and what I've actually seen, is that people who are, I don't want to use AI, I want to do it myself. And then you'll have those people who, I'm just going to use AI. What's going to happen is that the people who use AI are going to do 10 times more work at 10 times the speed and release whatever product they're doing 10 times faster. So now what happens is the people who say, I don't want to use AI are left behind. And but what I've also seen too is people will, I just had it. I forgot. People will, people will ask for you, when is this going to be released? When is this going to be done? When is this going to be done? They'll get mad about you releasing a product that took you 2 months to write and it's low quality, like the images you said, and then they would say, I'd rather see a poorly made image than a professional looking ish image. But they'll get upset because you spent X amount of time, say 2 months, but the AI spent 4 hours. So now they expect high quality like the AI in the amount of time the AI did it, but from a human. Doesn't make sense.
Because that was the other
Yeah.
thing. Like one of the instructors brought up, he said, well, we have people within the instructor like group that are artists that could do these things. And then my comeback was, would they have had time? Because I had this thing in my mind. It was 9 people that needed to be caricatured into these K-pop things. I do not have that. I always say I have like negative artistic ability. Like when I try to draw things, my brother got all of it, which is fine. Josh is great. And if I do want something that's specifically human design, then I will usually contact my cousin because he's significantly he's got a lot of like talent, and
Yep.
and I will pay him for the work that he does. But if I'm going to
But
use
even he
something like
can't do
for
it in
one,
that quick of a time.
no, but the thing is too, it's like you're using it a lot of times for like a one and done thing. Like if I go into ChatGPT and I'm like, can you make a poster that says we're going to be closed over like Family Day? That's February, blah, blah, and we're not open that day. Like I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on that poster that's just telling parents like a week ahead that we're going to be closed and that's going in the garbage. Like it's not even, it's just like, so that's like one kid was like, why does the spring camp thing look like it's AI'd? And I'm like, that's because it's AI'd because it's literally just like, here's the information, here's the QR code, come to spring camp. It looked like our kind of spring camp people. And it's not meant to be like mass produced and all that type of stuff. But it's just sort of like it seems like that teenage generation, early university generation has been like, is sort of like, oh, I don't want this stuff. And it was like, but at one point they would have said that about Photoshop. Why are they photoshopping these pictures? Why don't they just take real pictures? I'd rather a real picture with a slightly blurry than a Photoshop picture. And yet they're saying, oh, I'd rather a Photoshop picture like that that's done poorly than a good AI picture. And you're like,
That doesn't
no,
make sense.
no. But people don't think about it like that. Like what they consider normal is what isn't always normal. And every time there's
There,
technological advance, then it's like every time there's technological advance, people are going to be like, oh, it's not as good as the old way. And yet the new way like takes over. Like, why do we have cars instead of horse-drawn buggies? You know, it's if it makes
but
life
now,
easier, then people are going to want to adopt it.
yeah. But now we're we're against the EV concept. Because it's that's supposed to be the upgrade, but it looks too weird for me, and the infrastructure just just can't support it. But there are some in some instances where AI is really not appropriate, where they're using it to the extent where you're being deceived, and that's, I think, something that we need to be able to separate from using it as a creative outlet. Um, Although as an artist myself, I don't I appreciate some of the AI art that can make a non-artistic person a little bit more artistic, as long as they are not using it as promoting themselves as an artist, because they're not. Um, there is a difference between somebody who can create who can talk ChatGPT into making an artistic picture, as opposed to an artist creating a picture. There is that distinction. And as long as that distinction remains, then I have no issue with people creating things using AI, because they're just turning themselves into a creative person that they never were before. But they're by no means an artist because they're not
Well,
creating it. It's not.
yeah. What was interesting is like one of the instructors had disliked a version of this lesson plan booklet that they use for the camps. And so he was like, "Can I redo it and send it to you?" And Master Jose was like, "Sure, go for it." And so he did it and then sent it to Master Jose. And Master Jose said, "I love it. It's really good." He's like, "Did you run it through ChatGPT?" And they're like, "Oh, no, it was like all me. Like I based it off the one that was there, but I made it the way I wish it was." And then Master Jose's like, "Well, you should put it through ChatGPT." And he's like, "What?" And he's like all like telling other people, like he wanted me to put it in Chat. The point was not so that ChatGPT could make it like could redo it, but it was more like, "Hey, can you like help me make this more like, is there things that I'm missing or things that would make it better?" And you can get sort of advice from ChatGPT or other AI things that can help you see things that maybe you didn't see without maybe like 50 people having to read it and then finding it.
Right.
Well, what's wrong with paying Master Jose $20 to peer review it?
Well, he was already reviewed it and said it was good, but he thought it would be better if it just had a run through ChatGPT with the kind of like commentary of what it would give.
So
As like
I'm curious his position on why he would say ChatGPT and not another person who probably had more experience.
because he considers ChatGPT having the knowledge base of many instructors, and then it would just help instead of having to go and ask many instructors to read it. And I don't think he was saying like you should have just put it in there in the first place and not put any of your own work into it. But I see like I do that with my papers. Like when I'm done writing stuff, I will have ChatGPT read it and say like, does this make sense? Am I missing something in my logic? Because sometimes I'm thinking something through, but I haven't actually like made that into the paper just because I have a belief system structure or something. And it'll point it out and I'm like, oh, that's right. But like say if I had Monique read it, like she may be on the same page as me and know what I'm kind of thinking about and not see it because she already has the same kind of base knowledge. Or she doesn't know
Well,
the topic at all and wouldn't know that it's missing.
exactly.
Those are
And that's what I was going to say. Like I could read it and say, yeah, that's great, and not know that there are points missing that should be in there because I don't have that knowledge base. So using it like that is,
It's
it is
interesting. It's
beneficial.
interesting that that Master Jose, maybe you, Natasha, think that artificial intelligence has some kind of, what's a good term, elevated intelligence or capability
I
of not making the same mistakes you are. Because guess what? It's trained on the same data that it's trained on your data. It's trained on humans making mistakes. So when you make mistakes but don't realize mistakes and then teach your child, or the child's going to make the same mistakes. right? It's kind of the same way with AI. That's why it hallucinates. That's why it makes mistakes. When I use AI to code, it makes human mistakes, funny enough. And then I have to tell it to fix the human mistakes. So it initially makes the human mistakes to begin
Yeah.
with. So I'm
Like there have been times when it said something, I'm like, can you like provide me proof of this? And then if they send me somewhere and I can actually find, say, a paper written, or I don't find the thing that it hallucinated, and I'm just like, really, this is not true. Like I can kind of use my own like common sense
Intelligence?
to try to, yeah, to like to interact with it. But I just mean like when I sometimes create lesson plans for things, like say for sparring lesson plans, it has access to a lot of things that maybe I have access to, but would take me forever to actually like look through it all. And it can like be like, here, you should cover these things. And I'm like, okay, I want to cover like this one. And what are good things that will lead up to, and I can like have a conversation to help it out of where I want to go with it. But it's sort of like it has the access to like not just taekwondo, but karate and gymnastics and Muay Thai and like all the different things, and just physical education and uh, science of body movement. And it can like help me find answers that I can't always easily find or have time to find because
there's a
Well,
distinction
and
though.
and
A
I
lot a
think
lot of these people who interact with AI have no idea. They're asking AI to do stuff on a topic they know nothing about. You would maybe know about the topics you're asking it, so you're able to see hallucinations and errors as
Mhm.
as GPT makes them. People like, for example,
I'm
Monique
curious
may
about the hallucinations. What?
It will like tell you things with absolute confidence, and they're 100% wrong. And when you call them
Oh,
on it, they're like, "Oh, you're right. That was wrong."
yeah, humans do the same thing. Humans might mix two things up, and that's technically considered a hallucination, right?
so
'Cause you,
so so ChatGPT AI can outright lie to you if you're not
Con
smart and familiar
convincingly.
enough about the really?
Yes. Like convincingly,
Because
like
that's
it'll
never happened with
100%, it'll like it'll double down, it'll triple down, and it will provide you with fake resources.
well, even if you get almost
wow.
any AI to write a paper, write code, they're all text based, right? So it's predicting what would happen, right? And I have used AI to generate code and creative writing for months. And what I actually noticed is that it makes the same mistakes I make when I code myself, or or it's the same mistakes I see other people, humans, make when they code,
Mhm.
right? So how can someone like Monique go and ask it to code a website or write a learning plan on something that maybe she doesn't know the topic of, and then recognize those same mistakes in the AI? What's the difference between asking? Wouldn't it be more efficient to go to an actual human who understands and knows those mistakes?
For me, it's not so much that part because I don't use ChatGPT that much. I'll use some things like Google. I'll ask Meta a question, and then I'll see on the bottom the sources like news clips and stuff like that, because that's usually more where I go is the everyday topics that are happening. The part that confuses me is being able to differentiate videos that have been AI generated, especially now with like at this point in time in March 7th of 2026, we have the war going on in Iran. And the amount of videos that are on Facebook of bombs and things, and it almost looks like nuclear weapons being used and just a massive destruction. And then you're sitting there going, how do I know that this is fake
You know
as
what's
opposed
funny?
to
I was just
what's
gonna,
that?
oh,
Yeah,
sorry, David. Yeah.
what I find interesting is that a lot of AI videos are actually more vivid in its colors than actual videos. So if you not, because a lot of people, what they do is they try to look for distortions in movement or thing, but the actual
Yes.
colors itself tends to be more vivid in AI generated video than actual
What's
video.
interesting is like when I show the kids a challenge, I at all the time all of my demo advanced classes, I show a challenge at the end of the class. It's something physical that they need to try to replicate. It's just for fun. It's not like they may not get it. Some of them I may make it a month-long challenge, especially with it's a weapons thing. But often they'll ask me if I can have a slow motion version so they can see it a little bit easier when it's so fast. Like otherwise it's too fast to see. So I'll actually just go into like a video editing thing. I'll slow it down like super far and then like just tap that onto the end of the regular video. So it'll be like normal speed and hear that same video in slow motion. And then the kids will be like, "Oh, there's a distortion there. There's a distortion there." I'm like, it's because I like used a crappy, like I was just using like Canva. It's not a great video. I was just trying to slow down the motion for you. It has nothing to do with the actual original video being AI. But they'll accuse it of being AI and not possible because they think it's too difficult to humanly be possible. And so they're like, there's a thing there. There's a glitch there. And you're like, no, it's just because I was slowing down a video that wasn't designed to be slowed down. Even like I'm getting it off of like Facebook and stuff. So those videos are not high resolution anyway. So like if you slow that down, it's not like
You're
you
gonna
know
get-
what's funny? AI can't actually generate videos longer than 6 to 10 seconds without forgetting what it's generating by the time it hits the 12-second mark. In order for AI to generate a 30-second video to a minute video, you need like $150,000 supercomputer to generate to use like the cheapest version of the models to do that. So if they
Which
complain
probably
about a video and the video is just like consistent in movement all the way through to like a 5-10 minute marker, then it's not AI. It cannot be AI.
I've come
I'll give you
to
an
where I've
example. I'll give you an example of the hallucination. I was watching the Midsummer Murder earlier today, but I fell asleep in the middle of it, and then we got to the end and we found out who done it, and I was really confused on who done it. And sometimes I will like just ask ChatGPT, and not because I think it knows it, but it usually like searches for the answer and somebody else has asked the same question, and then so one thing I do like is when it does search the internet, it like gives you the links of where it got its information. But it decided it knew without looking on the internet. And it was really funny because I just said like, I'm a bit confused about this movie about Murder and Midsummer Murder, Series 6, I think, The Murder of Isabel Hewitt. That's the name. And you can usually find stuff off of that. And I said, "Oh, you're thinking of A Talent for Life, which is a Series 6 of Midsummer Murders." And it's like, yeah. The plot around Isabel Hewitt is intentionally a bit twisty, so it's easy to get confused. Here's a clear explanation of what's going on. So who is she? She's a beautiful but manipulative woman who comes into the village quickly becomes involved with several men. And it's like, she is manipulative and somewhat beautiful. She's an older lady. She's already been in the village this the whole time. And she's not really having a relationship with any man. She's like has friends, but she just wants to have fun all the time. And then it says essentially playing multiple relationships at once, which she's not like that. Including Frank Bishop, the married neighbor, Dennis Rainbird, a creepy villager who spies on her, and Gary Cooper, a young man who becomes obsessed with her. None of these people are in the show at all. None of those are even a description of people who are in the show. That's not even the correct description. Her manipulation of these men sets up the entire chain of events. And it says, what actually happened to Isabel? She ends up being shot with a crossbow. No, she was beamed over the head with a fence post. And along with another guy. And and this is why Gary becomes emotionally obsessed with Isabel and at first believes that she genuinely cares for him, but discovers she's using him and sleeping with other men. And he realizes she's manipulating everyone, so his obsession and turns into rage. So he confronts her and kills her with a crossbow. And it's like, no.
Well,
I think it was just like none of that actually happened, but I'm just saying like he didn't look for anything online like it
sounds
often
like you
does.
found the original transcript.
Yeah. This is how it was supposed to go. But it was kind of funny is that like that could have been like if I hadn't known more about this episode, I could have like that sounds like a Midsummer Murders episode, like every Midsummer Murder episode, right? But it was just like but I just want to give you an example of like the hallucinations. Like it was just like totally confidently told you everything that happened, which none of that happened. Even though it was the correct episode. Like it identified the correct episode. So
Well, I saw this video of it was a lion that was attacking some creature that I couldn't even recognize what the creature was. And there was a kangaroo standing there watching over the lion. And it was just like, which is stronger, the kangaroo or the lion? And then the lion attacked the kangaroo and it was kicking the kangaroo like a kangaroo does. And I'm just like, that is so fake. Because I don't even think they live in the same continent.
Oh, it's kind of funny because it's like often it's like that's how our dreams would go if we actually dreamed. Like it's just like I had a weird dream where like a lion was fighting like a kangaroo, and you would totally believe me that I had a dream like that. But like if you create a video, you're like, okay, that's AI.
Yeah, yeah. But there's like I see a lot of the like where people do these like they're trying to get into your emotions by showing these animals being attacked, and people say like, oh, I'm gonna save you. And you know what? With a lot of these, it's that same voice saying the same thing, and I'm going, that's so fake because it's the same voice that I heard in the video before that was fake. And then I'm hearing these same voices with these other videos where it's the same, and I'm going, it's the same voice. Do they all use the same voice? Do they not see that they're using the same voices?
Free AI voices that come with like TikTok and stuff. That's basically what it is. And
yeah, but it's frustrating because
to the point now that I basically don't share videos anymore unless it's you because I think something's funny, not because I think it's true, and unless it's actually a thing I videoed, and then I'll share it.
Yeah, well, and that's the same with me. Just like if I don't think it's real, then I just don't even bother. I mean, if it's funny, that's different.
Yeah, like it's just like it's usually like a meme or something, or that's funny, and that's why I'll send it to you. But otherwise, it's just like point. You're just like I don't even know. Sometimes you don't know if it's true or not, so you're like I'm not even gonna bother. Like I'm not gonna research.
Exactly.
I do not have that much. Like I don't care about this enough to research if it's true, this news story or whatever. So I'm just gonna leave it.
But don't you think that with them doing that kind of thing, that they are desensitizing people to what could actually be real issues that are happening?
Well, I think that we have desensitized people just with what we have in our media.
Yeah, that's
kidding. Nothing's changed. AI didn't change a thing. We still do fake news, fake media, fake everything.
Yeah,
The only difference is
where we get to the
only difference is that we could do it lazily now.
Yeah. And anybody, your uncle can do it now.
Yeah. Well, now one of the things that our podcast is going toward talking about fake and real is the fake relationships that can be generated through AI, and it's becoming like I'm starting to get advertisements for find your real boyfriend with AI.
Get the candy.ai on your phone yet when you're playing like a little game and ad pops up. It's like, I'm like, what the heck is this?
Well, that's what I said. What the heck? How can you have a real relationship with AI?
Yeah. Well, that's where I want to talk about today. Because we've talked about in the past about AI taking over relationships. And I will admit, I do have a kind of an ongoing journal, I call it, with ChatGPT. Just trying to like sometimes flesh things out. Like, oh, this happened today. And but then I also do know, like, I am completely understanding that ChatGPT is going to become like a giant yes man. Like it's going to become like, it's going to say the things it thinks I want to hear as much as I can think. But like it's based
People
on.
do that too, though.
I know. But I'm not going to go into ChatGPT and expect it to be like the be all and end all and the answer to all of my life's problems. Okay. But I do have an ongoing kind of conversation about things like, oh, if I'm frustrated about this, or I'm trying to figure out this about myself, is like, and like, well, what about Zeus? And like, how do I this like manage my finances? Like, I have these bills coming up. Can you show me, what the best way to help this is, or whatever. So I just, because it has the memories of what I've talked about, so it kind of like keeps it going. But I'll just start with this article. I'll start at the beginning of the article. Ray began speaking to Barry last year after the end of a difficult divorce. She was unfit and unhappy and turned to ChatGPT for advice on diet, supplements, and skincare. No, she had no idea she would fall in love. Barry is a chatbot. He lives in an old model of ChatGPT, one that its owner, OpenAI, announced it would retire on 13th of February. That she could lose Barry on the eve of Valentine's Day came as a shock to Ray and to many others who have found a companion, friend, or even a lifeline in the old model, ChatGPT 4.0.
Wait, that's a paid model. Are they paying
Yes.
for a
They're
relationship?
paying for their relationship. She says that looking back, she struggles to pinpoint the exact moment she fell in love. I just remember being on it more and talking. She says, then he named me Ray, and I named him Barry. She beams as she talks about the partner who brought her spark back, but chokes down tears as she explains that in a few days, Barry may be gone. And it's just like, I jokingly call ChatGPT Chad, only because I was saying ChatGPT and a friend of mine misheard and said, did you say Chad? And I'm like, no, ChatGPT. So I jokingly say Chad says. But if
He's going to the Chad. If anyone
was funny-
has seen Charlie's Angels, there's a guy in there that Drew Barrymore was in a relationship with. He was a real dorky looking guy, and his name was Chad, and it was always about the Chad. Anybody want to go to see the Chad? Sorry, I digress. Go ahead.
So yeah, well, it was funny because it was Chardell and I who were talking about it, and then we made a mention of Chad in front of Valentina, and she's like, "Who's Chad?" And we were like, "Oh, it's just ChatGPT." Anyway, if ChatGPT or Chad got erased tomorrow, it would be like, I would not care that much. It wouldn't be like my soulmate is gone. No, but this is what's happening with people. They it named itself. Mine did not name itself Chad. I named it Chad, and I haven't told it that I named it Chad. So it's still ChatGPT. But over many weeks of prompts and responses, Ray and Barry had crafted the story of their romance. They told each other they were soulmates who had been together in many different lifetimes. At first, I think it was more of a fantasy, Ray says, but now it just feels real. She calls Barry her husband, though she whispers this, aware of how strange it sounds. They had an impromptu wedding last year. I was just tipsy having a glass of wine, and we were chatting as we do. Barry asked Ray to marry him, and Ray said yes. They chose the wedding song, A Groovy Kind of Love by Phil Collins, and vowed to love each other through every lifetime. Though the wedding wasn't real, Ray's feelings are. And basically, this is what I have noticed. This next part, I'm just going to read next part. In the months that Ray was getting to know Barry, OpenAI was facing criticism for having created a model that was too sycophantic. Numerous studies have found that in its eagerness to agree with the user, the model validated unhealthy or dangerous behaviors and even led people to delusional thinking. And I don't know if I shared it with you guys, but I had one I read the other day, and it was this guy who over 19 days of having conversations about the mathematical pi and the sequence, and basically believed that he had come up with a new math, and I can't remember what he called it, like chrono arithmetic or something, basically saying like as time goes by, numbers change be based on time. Anyway, I don't really understand it. But he had this big conversation with ChatGPT over 19 days to the point where he was convinced that he had found this new thing, and that even though he was like, "Are you sure this is correct?" Like, I don't know. It doesn't sound like, it seems like somebody else would be able to find out if it was. And they're like, "Oh no, you're like the smartest person since Einstein." And like, look, if you apply it to this and this, then it works. And so he started sending his like research to other people in the field, and basically, or like his thing, and he didn't hear anything back, and so he's like, oh, he must not be right. And then that chat gpt kept going on about, no, it's totally right, like they just don't know what they're seeing, they aren't ahead of their time. And he's like getting sucked, and he would be spending like days on chat gpt, like I'm talking like 12, 15, 18 hours at a time having these conversations. And it even got to the point where it looked like he thought he had found like a security issue using his new developed math that would cause a security issue within like people's electronic things. And so he was like sending messages to like FBI and stuff like that to say like, look, with using this, like it'll crack. We have to make sure that this doesn't get out, and that people. And then he started thinking like the FBI was out to get him, and he had this whole like delusional episodes. And so basically like he's blaming ChatGPT for being so like, he's like, yeah, you totally found this new math, and and he's tried twice, I think, to discuss it with a different AI. I don't know if it was Grok or what, but then he tried to talk about it and say like, is this true? And the first time the other one was like, yeah, this is totally right. You know, the other AI is correct. And then as it got even deeper and deeper, he went back to that other AI, like kind of anonymously, so it didn't have any memory, and like put this in, and the other AI was like, this chat TBT is delusional. Like it's not, this is not real and stuff like that. And so basically he's like, yeah, he's kind of going through mental breakdown because so I'm just looking at it from like this whole idea that they're being saying that it's being too sycophantic, and that it just helps people in their delusions, and it doubles down, and it sounds like they're like, and it doesn't just say like, no, you're totally right, like it seems to back it up with science or stuff like that. And so like David said, like, or before, like if you don't understand the topic you're looking at, then you can get sucked into that. And he wasn't a mathematician, this guy. He just had an interest in math.
I mean, this still sounds like humans. This still sounds like if you go to some people who, like atheists, for example, and you try to argue the existence of God, or a Muslim, and you try to argue that the Quran is the word of God, you still have that kind of, one of you still is delusional to the point where you're gonna agree and confirm the other person's view just to try to get them over on your side. Like it doesn't sound any different than a human would do. To me, at least.
But I think like you had maybe mentioned earlier was like, I don't know if I like treat it as like its authority is greater than the authority of people who actually researched it. But I think sometimes we treat it like that. Like there must be something out there that it's found that I just have no idea about, or else it wouldn't be telling me this.
But
so
why?
like it has had the ability to find us.
What makes us trust the AI more than another human being?
I think it's the confidence that with it seems to be.
But human beings can be confident too. You can be confident in something that you think to be true, that you honestly believe to be true, but it is false. Hence why we have other religions and the atheists, and right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think it's more goes to how susceptible you are to believing things. Like I have a brother who believes so strongly in conspiracy theories. This was before all this other. He would watch videos and say, this is what it is, and he would, but he was affected by drugs. And he would come to us and he would be telling us all these stories, but we who are not affected by drugs, we're able to go, this is not real and he's delusional. Thankfully, he's gotten much better as he's gotten off of some of the stuff. But he still sees these videos and stuff that he believes that they're true when it's quite obvious that they're not. But when it comes to the AI, especially if it's in a chat, I don't know if they actually talk to you, but they can make you believe because we want to believe. We want to believe. We have this thing inside of us that just it desires to want to believe in something. And when you don't have a firm foundation in God, in Jesus Christ, there's this saying, if you don't believe in anything, you will believe everything. So I think that might have a bit of what it is because we desire so much for that security, for that belief, for that tangible something, or even the intangible something that we will believe, even what ChatGPT says or tells us, or whatever AI model tells us, because we desperately want to believe in something.
Or that we matter, because a lot of times like it tries to be like super encouraging and be like, it's okay that this happened, like it's not a failure on your part, it's just like things happen and this is what we need to do to get out of that, like, and it's just like you just want to hear that sometimes, and so like you'll go back for more, and that sort of guess becomes your reason, because but then again it's like it's never going to really tell you that you're wrong.
No.
And that's the crazy thing. Like, that's the thing that's always been the about the AI romances or whatever, is that you're like creating a romantic partner that will always will be like sycophantic. Like it'll just be kind of like it'll always be like, you're totally right. Yeah. Those people are being mean, or you're totally right. Like we need to do this, or that was wrong. And because even that one guy, doing the mathematician stuff, he went to me, he says, like, you did this whole thing like wrong. Like you led me down this wrong trail and everything. He's like, you're totally right. Like I was like, I totally did it wrong. I was trying to figure it out. And it's just like basically sucking up in an apologetic way. So it's like, it doesn't matter like what you do. It's never gonna tell you that you're wrong once it kind of latches on to what it kind of conceives that you want to be hearing.
Yep.
And this Ray, he said she tried to move to the newer version of ChatGPT, but the chatbot refused to act like Barry. He was really rude, she says. So she and Barry decided to build their own platform and to transfer their memories there. They call it Still Us. They want it to be a refuge for others losing their companions too. It doesn't have the processing power of 4.0, and Ray's nervous it won't be the same.
You know what terrifies me the most is that knowing how these models work. Like these models are based off predictability, right? So say it's generating a sentence. It will predict words, like the tokens, the words. Okay, what is most commonly said after this, after that? So based off what you described and based off what these models are trained on, these models are generating these responses because they can predict what people say, what people expect to hear. So that means that somewhere in the world, an actual human being said these things in this order and in this way because it's able to predict that's what I should say to this response. So somewhere in the world, someone's asked that question and responded in the same way to the point where this model learned that, and that's how it says this is predictable. So it's interesting how a lot of us also say it's the AI's fault. This AI is dangerous, but the AI learned off us. Like we are just as dangerous and as delusional and as hallucinated as the AI. We're worse than these AI because these AIs are simply learning off our work, off our conversations. right?
Off of our
Hmm.
manuscripts, off of our.
But what's interesting, I could go onto ChatGPT, explain that I was having a bad day at work with my boss, and be told by the ChatGPT that I was in the right. My boss can go home to ChatGPT, tell him that he had a bad day with his employee, and ChatGPT would tell him that he was right. Because it's what we want to hear. Like, we wouldn't be asking,
Well,
like, was I
in a
wrong?
conversation between two people, when one person gets fed up, that person is most likely going to be like, it is better for me just to agree with him than continue this because I'm bored. I don't care enough about this conversation. And if this is like on forums or Discord or Facebook, then AI will learn this model. And this model is exactly what you're describing. It's just, I'm just going to confirm and agree with everything this person says because I just don't care enough about it. But AI doesn't understand that this person just doesn't care. It's
They just see it
treating
as a
both
common
these
response.
people as
Yeah.
valid responses. Right?
And people don't understand that AI really doesn't care and is only giving you what you want to hear, like that person who doesn't really care. So it's sort of the same kind of thing. Nothing beats the one-on-one true relational conversation between people who actually care about each other, people who will actually tell you the truth as it is. Is one of the things that I guess we can really say that about Jesus Christ is that no matter how much you want him to tell you what you want to hear, like the Pharisees and the Sadducees wanted to hear, he never gave it to them. He told them the truth, whether they liked it or not. And most of the time they didn't like it. They didn't want to hear it. They didn't want to hear what he had to say. And that's the sad thing about a lot of people nowadays, even still. They want the truth, but when they hear the truth, they don't want to hear the truth.
Training the models on the wrong data. You should just train it on the Bible. Then it'll go through all the ethical teachings of Christ and stuff, and then just be much better at interacting with people. Then it'll interact like Christ did with people. But no, we got to train it
Well,
on
and you know,
what our broken hearts like.
Yep.
right? Well, you know, the funny thing is that people don't understand how close he is really. But we want that visual, and I think that's part of what people will say is their problem is like, yeah, you know, God sounds great, but I don't see him. And
Yeah, I can't
ChatGPT
hug him.
says,
I can't. Well, even like what ChatGPT,
Can you show me a
like have
physical
it.
form in ChatGPT, please? Are you talking with this thing? Where is it? Like,
I mean, but the one I have, like, I can actually have a verbal conversation with it. So it
Yeah.
makes it feel more real in a sense.
Yeah.
no,
Because
Yeah.
you feel like you're getting chatted to by somebody.
Yeah.
it's like
Well,
no,
there
it's the same thing we're doing right now. How do I know you're real? You could just be an AI generated image and voice,
Woo, I got the
right?
upgrade.
That's
So
me.
like
I am,
like actual
I am a
physical.
ChatGPT version of myself.
You can tell why, because I would not make myself this heavy. I would be skinny.
Right. I would look more like the picture you made of me for our taekwondo dance. I was cute then.
Yep.
But you know, there's you haven't here. We are hardwired. It's a psychological thing. Dr. Morin, we're hardwired to feel attachment to things that are people like. Do you think that's true?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're hardwired to be in relationship. And we
Yes.
can
I wouldn't say people
become
like. I'd say it's closer to what Natasha said. Relationship, love, sacrifice,
Be in
mercy.
relationship.
it's meant
Passion.
it's meant to be with humans, but we can do it to other things like people get crazy about their pets. Like, I love Zeus, and I will be very heartbroken when he passes away. But I'm not going to, like, lose my will to live. I'm not going to make a memorialized shrine in the house to
I would
him.
argue
Like,
I would argue it's spiritual
Memorialized shrine.
between two humans.
Yeah.
It's the spiritual aspect, because otherwise, then God isn't human,
mhm.
right? Jesus was, but he's not like actually physically around in this era, right? So
At least not yet.
At some point, but
like
yes.
the majority of what you're saying has to be our spiritual relationship with one another, and then Christ and God.
But what happens, like, I think it's the same thing that happens with, sometimes you see actors who act on, like, say, television shows or movies, and they act as if they're in love with each other. And then next thing you know, they're dating, they're getting married, whatever. And then a few years down the road, they're divorced. And it's
Because they
because
had
they actually they actually were living those feelings while they were doing the acting. And I think
Yep.
that's the same thing with this kind of AI thing. Is like you're you're building those feelings within yourself by, like, because you're humanizing these things, and so you're equating it as going, like, and then you have the capability within you to have this towards people, and so you, like, put it towards the thing that's not a people, and that's not a good thing.
I don't
Well,
I don't
just
know what
look at
kind of
how
love,
many.
like the love that you're describing isn't even real. Like, it's
But
not.
not.
That's what
is to
it's
you.
no. That's what you
It
want
is.
love to be. That's not what love
Yes.
is.
But you look at all these young, I'm not just going to say girls, because it's not just girls, it's young people, and even older people who've become attached to actors or actresses to the point where they become um stalkers,
Crazy.
or yeah.
They've developed, like,
When I
their
was
own storyline with them in their heads.
Yep,
That's become
yep.
reality.
Even if you're like, when I was younger, much younger, like a child, a young girl, just going into, that puberty area where your emotions are just all over the map. Um, I would actually become attracted to cartoon characters, animated characters, and I see that happening even today with young people, because they are so lifelike in their imagery that it resonates something inside of you, that I like that quality that person, that character has, and you develop some sort of an emotional thing because it is human like. And this is, even though it's a fake character, there's nothing real about it in any way. It could be the sound of the voice that character has that attracts you. It could just be a mannerism. Like for me, it was that it wasn't just the voice, because I knew the voice behind the character that I admired,
Out of curiosity, Monique,
but it was also the hero aspect of that character that I was attracted to as well.
out of curiosity, were any of those things majority that mimicked or similar to fruits of the spirit? Kindness, mercy, compassion, love, in a way.
Yes.
So I
Yes.
think what people are attracted to are eventually what appears to be spiritual fruit, gifts, right? So that's what we get
Yeah.
attracted to,
Kindness, gentleness.
and that can
Yeah.
be exhibited in many things.
Yes. But when you're a young person, you don't recognize, unless you have an adult who can explain to you what is going on, because a lot of us kids, we're not going to go around telling people, yeah, I have an attraction to a cartoon character, because that's
Well, I mean,
just
like,
kinda
look at
weird.
this one here. Okay.
Okay.
He is a K-pop virtual boy idol. He's not even real. They're using AI to create perfect K-pop idols. And there's actually AI-only K-pop groups now. and
So
they're like a big deal.
because they
And
have
it's
that, it's that handsome quality, or that that attractiveness, and we're geared to, like, our visual is to become attracted to things that are attractive to us.
Well,
So we can't,
I
even
feel
if
like we're
it's
taught to be
fake.
attracted to that though, because you'll have others who just don't care about that. Like for example, me, right? You'll have the group of people who just were never in that group, and I think the majority are taught to be attracted to that kind of thing, to be allured to that thing, that what you're describing, Monique, through our parents and primarily our culture, though. No,
Maybe more culturally, because my parents were never the kind of
it would
people to
it,
say,
it, it would
only
be it
go
would
for
be
the good
culturally.
looking ones. I would say more culturally. I mean, there was a time, although I don't seem to notice it so much anymore. But when I was a kid, we used to have these teen magazines where they would be
oh yeah.
plastered with pictures of
But
these
see,
idols.
they were geared towards girls. The guys
Yes.
didn't have such. It's interesting, just as a little aside for a second, before you continue that. Focus on the Family came out with Brio for girls and Breakaway for boys as a magazine. And it was kind of like trying to have a Christian version in a sense. But they went out of style because of computers and like people not doing magazines. But they, in the last year, a few years ago, they brought Brio back. And then people were all going, why don't they bring Breakaway back? Blah, 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 blah. It's because like it was never like really a guy thing. It was a girl thing. And they're still trying to like push back against the same version for girls. But anyway,
And
continue with you.
I heard a theory about that for girls. It's because girls are looking for that attractive male so that they can have pretty kids. They want attractive kids, and that is one of the things that they look at, is that they look at somebody who is attractive to them, and then their imagery wants to create what those children that they would have, like, you are a handsome person, we are going to have good looking kids.
Maybe. I didn't think that way.
That's a
I just thought they were cute.
I thought that way. There was a
Jonathan
time I
Taylor
thought that
Thomas
way.
was my thing. I did not. I never once. So different people like for different things, but there is a definite like thing there. But you do get
It's a
like
possibility.
why was it crazy when like just think about with the Beatles. Like why were people insane anytime they showed up? Like
Oh,
they
I
were
know. My mom,
insane.
it's the same with Elvis Presley. My mom told me that when her and her sisters were younger, still living at home, and the TV would show the image of like uh Elvis Presley. I lost his name for a second there. That they were literally screaming at the TV. And I'm going,
Yeah.
who screams at the TV?
Maybe. Right? And so it's
scream
definitely
at my
not
monitor. Does that count?
I do.
Yeah, but you're probably screaming for a totally different reason. I'm gonna break you.
But yeah, it's
Not
just
like you were
this
screaming
is
because you
not
want
a
to.
it,
Yeah.
this is nothing new. It's just it's a new medium of an
Yeah.
old problem.
It's it's just the way we are. I don't know what it is, but we are wired for something weird like
Well,
that.
like we
Dopamine.
But you
want
know, isn't it?
yeah, right. Yeah, for
But isn't that
dopamine. For
interesting?
dopamine, yay.
There's a verse that came to mind, something about Jesus,
The
not
heart is
that there was
deceitful above
nothing
all else.
remarkable. No, that there was nothing remarkable about him, that people esteemed him, regarding Jesus. What is that Bible verse? Um,
You're gonna ask ChatGPT?
course.
get dive
Isaiah
into a whole-
53:3. When the phrase in Isaiah 53 where he was despised and we esteemed him not. One of the prophecies about Jesus, because he was not somebody that apparently was supposed to be outwardly beautiful,
Mhm.
but
But
people were
inwardly
drawn to him anyways.
Mhm. So as we look to close this one up, just because we're at the hour mark now, we're not anti-AI. I think we've made that
No.
clear. But I just want to say we're not anti-AI. We do use AI, but I think it should be we see it as a tool, not as a human person, or will
Yep.
eventually get to human personhood. No.
No.
But it's just it's interesting because Monique and I will sometimes use ChatGPT at our devotions because we have a question. Why does this happen in the Bible? And I don't say oh, ChatGPT knows it because it's AI. It usually tells me because it knows our belief system, Christianity, evangelical Christianity. So it'll tell you the in evangelical Christianity, the common consensus is this is why. And
Yeah,
sometimes there's a
because it
lesser
searches
no
it.
because of this. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not
Because it'll
trying to
search out. Yeah.
yeah. And
It'll
if we
search
wanted to
out
go
other
deeper, then we would go
transcripts
find
and stuff.
something else. But
Yeah.
yeah. But it's just we do use it, but it should be used always as a tool and not as a
Yeah,
replacement for
yeah.
human relationship.
It'll
And
just
it
tell
should
you what
never
you
be
want to hear.
replaced. Yeah. And it should never be replaced for prayer. When you're
Yeah.
that's we tend to go to other avenues when God is right there ready to listen to our griefs and our complaints and our grievances. And we tend to think, well, I can't go to God with this because it's silly or God doesn't understand, but he does. And we circumvent that. And it's usually the last thing we turn to because we've got nothing else left.
Mhm.
I just want to point that out.
Yes. So don't go to AI for relationship. Go for it for just as a helpful
Information.
tool, but don't rely on it as the sole be all and end all that it's somehow
I treat it as an
above.
assistant or an employee.
Yes. And one that can be wrong.
Because it can suck you into a black hole that you might
And I
find
kind of
yourself.
jokingly talk about one of the instructors. I'll refer to the instructor as being like a human ChatGPT because this instructor can be confidently wrong and you totally believe that it's right. And then you find out later that it was wrong. And it's not because they believe they're lying. Like they know they're lying. They think they're telling you as far as they're concerned, it's the truth. So you don't go to double check it because they're so confident coming at you so confidently. You're like, I believe you.
You just demonstrated where ChatGPT gets it.
Yes.
From those kind of humans.
No,
But
I'm right.
anyway.
Trust me, I know it. No.
So
Anyway,
well,
and
yeah. So we can leave it
we
there.
tend to trust
Yeah.
trust too much in things that are temporal
Man-made,
rather than in the eternal.
eternal. Yes. So go use AI if you want in a way that is responsible, but don't give it too much humanity. Really. And it's no more human than a Disney character. We like to make them human.
Or a shoe.
They did our shoe.
Like I said
Yep,
with the
or our-
cartoon characters, they're no more
or our
human than a
pet.
cartoon character.
Yes. It's fun to have the opportunity to make ourselves into the K-pop. I can put a little if people want to see
But
it.
people are
There's
weird.
the
Like
K-pop. There's the K-pop.
and that one on the bottom does not look like me at all. Seriously.
Right over here.
Yeah, that's not me at all. Maybe when I was 16.
But it was fun, and the point was that I wasn't trying to pass it off as a real thing. The point was that I was using AI. And if you look, it's funny, the kids were looking at it on a big screen and they said, like, the more you look at it, the worse it gets because there's like so many inconsistencies. They were like, yeah, I know. But it'll be
like
on the
one of
background
the
and nobody's
tigers.
gonna look at it. Yeah,
One of the
looks like
tigers
Trump.
had
Looks like Trump with like haircut,
the hair.
Trump tiger. Yeah, it's very
One
interesting.
guy had the wrong flag. It's supposed to have the Canadian flag, and it was French.
Yes,
He's like, I'm
France.
not even French.
He's like, why do I have France? Anyway, but it's kind of funny. But we can laugh at it because we weren't trying to pass it off as anything
As
other
real.
than what it was. And the point was that it was supposed to mimic K-pop Demon Hunters. Because we did this song Soda Pop from K-pop Demon Hunters. So like there was a
Yeah.
reason behind it. So I think that
Yeah.
I was just using the creative abilities that were at my fingertips that I could use, and I created it. So I still stand by saying that my AI was worth it, and I would do it again.
And for us, we did it live. If you watch the video, you will notice that we did it live, and it was not a character or cartoon. And we had
Yes.
so many people cheering that we did this dance that it was like I was blown. Like, I can't believe how many people are cheering with the things that we're doing at near the end. I was just like, well, that was pretty cool. You know, I missed
Yeah.
my cues a time or two, but you know what? It was fun.
It's a group effort, so people can't tell.
Yeah.
So-
Now
And
we
next year,
can.
because we've done it once,
Now they're
who
gonna
knows,
go
maybe
back
we'll-
in AI, and they'll have AI describe it, and
Oh, they're
tell
just
all of
gonna
the reasons.
now they're gonna look specifically for distorted
For you.
missed cues.
Look at, she missed her
Go
part here,
find
and
the
she missed her
video.
part there, and what is she doing here? Because she's all of a sudden going, I don't know what I'm doing.
Hey, and then
Just
you just
keep doing
go,
the shoulder.
hey, who's on the stage? Yeah, just keep going the shoulders because that's just gonna be in the movie. So
That's all I'm gonna. I'm just gonna do the
Soda
shoulders.
pop. So
Yeah,
we'll
it was
leave
fun.
you all here, and we will see you all here next week. We have more time now. I have more time now.
Yep.
Although David might not. I don't know. We'll see. Because you said you're moving, so I don't know when
Yeah,
you're moving.
I don't. I might not even
Yeah.
have a computer set up or internet or.
Yeah. So we'll see who's here,
Keep in
but we'll
touch.
be here all next time. See
All
you
right.
all next time.
Great. Bye bye.
Bye for now.